Hello and welcome to Offers 101 training. We're going to walk you through a high level of how we generate leads at offers.com, and more importantly, how you follow up with those leads, and then what you can do to enhance your marketing and prospecting, leveraging our smart data, our tool set, and our platform. So let's get started. First, I want to welcome everybody to training. The format today is pretty simple. We're going to walk through a few slides to make sure that you understand the philosophical approach that we've taken to automating lead gen. Then we're going to go into a Q&A session. So if you have any questions or concerns, please voice them at the end of the session and we can walk through each one of them accordingly. Before we begin, I want to make sure that you're aware that there's numerous channels for gaining support and training. Unlimited live training, so what you're attending now is what we call live training. You can attend these sessions as many times as you'd like. Anybody on your team can attend it at no cost. You can register at any point in time on offers.com/training and sign up for any one of our classes. We also offer video training where you can sign up at offers.com/training video and watch videos at your own leisure. And also within the application itself, anytime that you click on a help button, we offer a video tutorial about that specific section, which can be very useful and helpful as you're guiding through the application itself. We also provide live support, so if there's something urgent, a bug, or any support questions that you may have, and you certainly didn't learn that in training or is not available in the help desk, you can always email support@offers.com. That is the one thing that you definitely want to remember, is that any support issue, please email support@offers.com. That will create a ticket in our system so that we can track it. And then somebody from our support team will look at your support issue, make sure that the right person calls you back, and walk you through the solution. And then we also offer a help desk, which we constantly update with news articles, knowledge-based articles, etc. And you can access that at any point in time at offers.com/helpdesk. And then finally, if you're a new user, you should be getting emails on a daily basis that walks you through kind of tips and tricks and best uses of our platform. Instead of shoving it all of it at you at one time, we've kind of distributed over 30 days. We highly encourage you to read those emails. They're very helpful, and they kind of walk you through, again, how to best leverage our system. And all of these things that we just talked about are available when you first log into the application. The links are available under the help menu. So make sure that you take advantage of that. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started. So section 1, targets and spheres. This is really the bulk of what you need to understand as far as how we look at the market space and how we ultimately generate leads. We divide up the world into targets and spheres. To put it simple, targets are people that you don't know, and spheres are people that you do know. And the two statistics that should really resonate in your mind, and of course is why we brought offers.com to the market, are these two stats, right? 75% of homeowners will choose the first agent that contacts them. So this means that you need to make sure that you have an active prospecting program, an active marketing program that's going after targets in your neighborhood. And then sphere, 70% of homeowners that used you or a past agent would say they would use you again, but only 20% do, which means this is where agents are falling short on their sphere marketing. This is people that you're marketing to that you've done business with. And also over 60% of leads that are generated for most agents, especially beginner agents, come from their sphere. So making sure that you're top of mind with your sphere, people that you know can refer you, can use you as your agent, etc. Making sure that you have a very active target marketing strategy and a sphere marketing strategy. The good news is this is all included in offers, and we give you the tool sets to do both. So let's dig into that a little bit more. So what's the mentality of the prospect that we're trying to go after? It's very important to understand this because this is exactly why we created the system that we did. A target thinks a little bit differently than somebody in your sphere. A target is a homeowner in your area. They probably don't know about you. They may have seen your brand, but they may not have met you. If they've met you, then they probably would be more likely in your sphere. They might be thinking about selling or listing their home. Now, we've scored these homeowners from top to bottom, so the higher the score, the more likely they are to look to sell. But it doesn't mean that marketing to people that aren't necessarily selling their home in the next 6 to 12 months is a waste of money. Moving people from people you don't know into the box of people you do know is a great way, a great long-term strategy of building your brand and building your business long-term. However, with our smart data, we're going to target the ones that are highest scored, which means they don't know who you are, they are thinking about listing their home, but now we have to build trust and actively market to them, drive them to engage with us, and then go from there. And then people in your sphere, obviously, are people that you do know, but they may have not have heard from you in a while. And so it's important to reconnect and constantly activate that sphere with clever messaging that says, I'm looking for referrals, or if you're thinking about listing, and of course you want to mix in some other things in there as well. Because these people know you, it's a lot easier to market to them because they've already given you permission to talk with them because they know you. In the case of targets, it's a little bit more difficult because you can't just barge through the door and start marketing to people that don't know you. It can turn them off and have an adverse effect. So we want to make sure that we kind of build a funnel and nurture those targets and slowly but surely guide them over and ultimately build a relationship. And this is exactly how we see the world and why we built the platform the way we did. Target marketing and sphere marketing are two real separate pieces of how to go after leads, and then of course generating those leads in order to ultimately generate business. Target marketing, we obviously leverage our algorithm, we leverage a series of tools, and then we do most of the heavy lifting for you with our Offers Plus program. We're going to constantly be surveying those homeowners, and we're going to be constantly marketing to those homeowners, driving them into the funnel so that you can take that first impression approach and start building those relationships. Sphere marketing is a little bit of a different beast. These are people that you already know, so you have to upload them into our system, and then we're going to hit them with numerous campaigns to nurture that sphere, to get them active, and of course build that referral network, and ultimately repeat business, and people that you know might even forget that you're in the real estate business, and we could drive some listing leads that way. But ultimately all this funnels up into leads, which is the most important thing that we're really talking about here. And then once we've actually generated a lead, we have an entire follow-up strategy to then go after closing those leads. So the big picture here, if you think about long-term, because everything you should be thinking is long-term, is that you have a neighborhood. Some of the people in this neighborhood or this territory you know, some people you don't. And so really the game plan is moving everybody from targets into sphere, meaning that everybody should know who you are and ideally have a relationship with you so that you can secure that business long-term. In the interim, or while you're doing that, some of those will surface as leads. Some of those people that you're building relationships will say, hey, I'm thinking about listing my home, or I'm thinking about buying a home, or whatever it might be. And of course, those are treated a little bit differently. But really, the big picture here is reducing the number of targets that don't know you and putting them into the bucket of people that do know you. And so now that you understand kind of the philosophy of how we approach target marketing and sphere marketing, I think the product itself and the platform, when you start navigating it, will make that much more sense. So what's the next step? Section 2, we build a pipeline. We're all about building a pipeline for your sales channel. And so currently you might have 5 or 6 opportunities in the pipeline. You might be working, nurturing certain things. You might be doing a lot of things outside of offers that we would obviously incorporate and look at as far as your total pipeline. But our job at offers.com is to start growing your pipeline actively and organically. So how do we do that? Well, as you know, the first step in order to really efficiently build a pipeline and keep within our budgetary constraints is to leverage our algorithm to ultimately identify smart data leads. These are people that we have scored high in our algorithm that are most likely to list in the next 6 to 12 months. The next step is to market to those people. And so we take a two-pronged approach. We market to them online. So we target market our advertising, deliver it right to those homeowners via popular websites on Google, Facebook, and so forth, so that we can drive them to take activity on our landing page. And so when they hit a lead capture page for like a home value report, we capture their information and deliver that back to you as what we call a lookup lead. And this is showing intent. So this is kind of the metaphorical equivalent of somebody who's shopping for shoes on Amazon.com, clicking on different pairs of shoes, but not necessarily adding to the cart and checking out and buying. But so it's really called an intender lead. So a lookup lead is really an intender lead, but we still want to nurture that lead because they had some reason to go in and check their home value. Therefore, they're more qualified and they're active so that we can reach out to them. They've opened the door for us to really start that conversation. And then finally, verified leads is really what we deliver through our phone survey campaigns. So we not only call people that are scored high, the algorithm generated leads, but we also call and try to verify those online lookup leads as well. A verified lead is when we actually have the homeowner say, yes, I'm thinking of selling in a survey. Now we could communicate via phone, email, or through the online website. They could actually fill out a form. But one way or the other, they've said to us, yes, I've confirmed that we are thinking about selling. That's what we call a verified lead. So all 3 of these leads can be marketed to. They're all different phases of a lead. and obviously and require a little bit more work the further you go up the funnel. So, for example, an algorithm-generated lead needs a little bit more work than an online lookup lead. And of course, a verified lead we know has already told us they're thinking about listing, so we want to make sure that we really pay attention to those. And so really when the responsibility transitions over, it's really to the agent that needs to do the follow-up and nurturing. That's when you introduce your brand and start building that relationship. And you can do that at any level. You can only focus on verified leads, you can do verified and online lookup leads, or you can do the whole caboodle. Verified leads, online leads, as well as algorithm leads. It really depends on what your philosophy of marketing is, and you can incorporate this at any level at any time. So what are we doing for you, and how are we doing this? Obviously, we mentioned our call center and our marketing center. So the first thing we're going to do is survey all the homeowners in your area. We're going to call all the high-scoring properties. Now, of course, not everybody answers the phone on month 1 or month 2, but our goal is to call and continue to call homeowners that we've scored high with our algorithm. As we survey them and as we get a response to the survey, one of two things happens. They either respond to our survey and tell us that they're not thinking about listing, therefore we can reduce their score and ultimately improve our data and of course improve your time. And then, or they say, yes, I'm thinking about selling. And then of course they get heightened, and then of course we market them as a verified lead. So this is really good old-fashioned phone prospecting, phone canvassing, and we do all this for you. The other thing that we do is we drive these high-scoring properties, homeowners, through our marketing center. So we launch a lead capture landing page. You can view it at housevaluereport.com. And this is where we drive homeowners to look up their house value. Once they've looked up their house value, we can match it with our database and deliver it to you as a lookup lead. And then, of course, we're going to continue to follow up with that lookup lead and try to verify that they're thinking about selling through our call center. And this is really what we mean by building a pipeline. We're driving traffic, trying to identify people within your territory that have the highest propensity of looking to list their home and making sure that you're first in the door. We do a series of advertisements, marketing to people, all kinds, flavors and sizes, from Facebook feed advertisements like you see here, from Google impression, Google advertisements, all the different sites that are out there that we can buy advertising on to drive traffic and to target those homeowners is what we do for you. So this is all included, so you don't have to worry about the headache of managing and maintaining all this. We can constantly survey and constantly target those homeowners, driving them back into the funnel and delivering that to you. So what does this funnel look like? Well, at the top of the funnel, we're really investing a lot in online advertising, targeting homeowners, as well as our phone surveys. Once they get into the middle of the funnel, this is where we identify them as a lead, and we encourage you to then step in and do the first impression, which is really about sending a property report that includes a digitally handwritten letter, so that's the value add that you bring to the homeowner that you can do a follow-up phone call with. And so this is really what we call the primary conversion funnel. Of course, you're not limited with our tool set. You can do other things. You can include things that you might have as assets that you might want to mail to these homeowners. You might want to include them in a direct mail program if they're a lookup lead or if they're a verified lead. So you can always enhance this, but this is the minimal amount of work that you should be doing, this primary conversion funnel, in order to be successful, making sure that you're following up with leads, sending them property reports, and then following up with the phone calls. So section 3, what you must do. And we just kind of highlighted it, but I'm going to drill into a little bit more. You absolutely have to do lead follow-up and nurturing. Once we generate leads, it's very critical that you assign somebody or you yourself follows our system and follows up with these leads. The last thing we want to do is generate leads and have them go cold over time. So what we recommend is generating what we call a property report. You can do this with a handwritten note on top of it, and you can mail it right through our system, or you can print it out and do it yourself. And then ultimately add that person to a nurturing campaign, making sure that you stay on top of them, reminding you to call them, reminding you to do the follow-up call after a week or after a month. And then, of course, driving them to go to answer the phone or to connect with you will allow you to qualify that lead and move them to the next phase. But it's very, very important to not give up on the first, second, third, fourth try, to really reach out to each lead at least 6 to 10 times in the first month in a multitude of ways to really hopefully capture that relationship and then move it into the right direction. It's very simple to follow the leads. We email them to you whenever we generate a lead, and after we qualify it, you can also access them through our software, and you can click on those leads and look into more detail, reaching out to them via phone, email, generating a letter, etc. And of course, we obviously have a digitally handwritten letter component to our software, so you can customize that based on who they are. Obviously, introducing yourself, you can add you can brand it with your own letterhead as well as your footer, so that you can really showcase a nice personalized look. And of course, make sure that you always update notes and status after you do something with a property owner, so that you know the last time that you touch them, and make sure what you did so far, so that as you continue to push them down the funnel and do a multi-channel campaign, you know exactly what worked and how it was effective. So ultimately, when we talk about the lead lifecycle and lead nurturing, it really is a series of steps. And this is something that's very critical for you to have fine-tuned within your organization. Once we've identified a lead, you want to send them through a series of steps. Now, we already talked about the first impression property report and the follow-up phone call, and then of course driving that to some sort of in-person visit where you could qualify and then either get the listing at that point, or if they're not ready yet, or if they're not necessarily looking to list yet, it doesn't mean you give up at that point. You want to then put them into some sort of nurturing campaign. Add them to the sphere, connect with them on social media, maybe even add something where you send a postcard every once in a while, and then put them on your email newsletter. This way, your brand is always in front of them. And again, remember, the big picture here is moving targets into spheres. So now you've taken somebody you don't know and added it into the bucket of people you do know. Whether they're thinking of listing in 30 days, 3 months, or 3 years, you're building your business long term. Of course, the whole goal here is to really drive toward people who are thinking of listing soon, but that doesn't mean every lead that doesn't list in the next 6 to 12 months is a waste. You want to make sure that you stay on top of it. So section 4, what else can you do? So we really just covered what you must do. You have to follow up with leads. You have to nurture leads. But what else can you do? You really can do everything through our platform. You can drive different campaigns. If you really are comfortable with direct mail, you can download our target lists and hit them with direct mail, making sure that your brand is in front of the right homeowners at the right time. You can connect with people via social media. You can leverage our emails and phone databases to do your own outreach campaign. Of course, our campaigns are not representing your brand, so if you wanted to do a branded campaign where you call homeowners or email homeowners, you can do that. And of course, finally, with sphere marketing, once you uploaded your sphere, you can also email them, group text, or group voicemail. And this is a great way that you can actively market and nurture your sphere. So that you can do more with our system if you have the time and energy to do it. But at a minimal, we want to make sure that you follow with the leads that we generate in order for you to kind of follow up and make sure that pipeline is getting closed. So at this point, now that you kind of have an idea of the philosophy of how Offers.com works, understanding the concept of target and sphere marketing, understand the idea of lead nurturing, and so forth, now we're going to kind of dig into the platform and walk through the demo.